Today, we're going to talk about a serial killer who haunted a community for a solid quarter of a century. But this story, it's not really just about the crimes themselves. It's about how a story gets told, how it gets ignored, and what it actually takes to save a history that some institutions basically tried to erase. And it all kicks off with one single chilling quote.
He's only killing hookers. This is what community activist Margaret Prescott remembers hearing from law enforcement back in the 1980s. And that one sentence, well, it gets right to the heart of everything. It's the reason a killer was able to operate for so long. It suggests this chilling indifference, right? A value judgment placed on the victims that basically created a hunting ground.
So, who was this guy? His name was Lonnie Franklin Jr. And maybe the most terrifying thing about this whole story is just how normal he seemed. He wasn't some monster lurking in the shadows. He was a part of the neighborhood. I mean, he was the guy on 81st Street in South Central Los Angeles, the guy you'd see fixing cars in his front yard who might lend you a few bucks, who was always up for a chat. He was so much a part of the local scenery that, get this, he was even captured by the Google Street View car, just hanging out by his front gate. But that friendly neighbor thing, it was all a mask. Because while Lonnie was fixing cars and being a buddy to his neighbors, he was also preying on women, right there in his own community. Now, the official number he was convicted for is 10 murders. But you talk to authorities, you talk to activists, and they believe the real number could be over 100.
What is just so shocking when you look at this timeline is the silence. The killings start in 85. By 88, police ballistics prove it's a single killer. But they don't tell the public. For 22 years, the official record is just quiet. It's not until 2008 that they finally admit, okay, yes, there is a serial killer active. And 2 years after that, Franklin is arrested. Not because of some brilliant detective work, but because his son's DNA, taken for something totally unrelated, was a partial match to the DNA from the crime scenes.
And this gets us to the real core of what we're talking about today. If the official channels were completely silent for decades, how was this history even saved? How did the voices of the victims, their families, the survivors, how did they last? Well, the answer, kind of ironically, is in the digital world.
Which, makes you wonder if the official story was just silence. Where did all these details come from? The whole good neighbor persona, the stories from survivors, the community's anger, that stuff didn't come out of dusty old police files. No, it came from a completely different kind of archive.
A huge amount of what we even know to discuss today is preserved in a full-length documentary that was just uploaded to YouTube. It's basically a digital time capsule, holding these first-hand accounts from Franklin's own friends, his son, survivors, and the activists who just flat-out refuse to be silenced. In the world of research, we've got a name for these. We call them primary sources. They're the raw material of history. And in this case, that documentary is just this incredible collection of living, breathing primary sources, people giving testimony that was ignored for decades. But here's the big question, right? In a serious academic or journalistic context, can you really truly trust a YouTube video? How do we handle a digital source like that with the seriousness it deserves, especially when it holds pretty much the only record of so many forgotten voices? Well, the answer is yes, you can, but only if you treat it with some real rigor. See, there are systems already in place designed to make any source, no matter the format, verifiable and accountable. And that system is called citation. Formal citation styles like APA and MLA, they aren't just for getting a good grade on a school paper. They give us a universal way of documenting where information comes from. They treat a YouTube video with the same structural logic as a book from a library. And this is a perfect way to look at it. All a citation does is translate what we're seeing and hearing into a standard, searchable format, so that gut-wrenching interview with a victim's mother becomes data, the channel name, the video title, the date it went up, and that unique URL. It's basically a bridge from the story right back to the source. And the process itself is really simple. Step 1, who uploaded it? Step 2, what's it called? 3, when did they post it? And 4, where can I find it? And that's it. You've just created a map that lets anyone trace your steps back to the original information. It's this incredibly powerful tool for transparency. But in the case of the Grim Sleeper, this whole digital story didn't just end with preserving the past. It actually became an active tool for right now. So after Franklin was arrested, the story took another fascinating digital turn. It became this active, living investigation. But it wasn't being carried out by officials. It was being done by regular people online. See, inside his house, police found something absolutely horrifying. A collection of photos of 180 unidentified women. They released these pictures to the public, hoping somebody could identify potential victims. But over time, the official links to these photos, they went dead. The evidence, this critical digital record, it just started to decay and disappear. And that is where the online communities stepped in. This slide here shows a little snippets from a Reddit thread on a forum called Grateful Doe, which is all about identifying unknown people. And you can see them right there, actively trying to find working links, sharing what little they can find, and analyzing the horrifying details in these pictures. These online sleuths, they basically became digital archivists. They hunted down the photos, they saved them, they shared them, and they kept trying to put names to faces long after the official effort seemed to just fade away. They refused to let these women be forgotten a second time. So all of this brings us to what might be the most important point of all. When we talk about citing a YouTube video or a Reddit thread in a case like this, we're not just talking about academic rules. It is something so much more. Just look at this table. On one side, you have the official attitude, a reported police slang term, NHI, no human involved, used for cases with victims who were prostitutes or addicts. Information was withheld, cases were ignored. And on the other side, the devastating human cost, a whole community kept in the dark while a predator just hunted among them. So when the official record is actually a record of neglect, these informal digital sources, they become the real history. Citing them isn't just about proving a fact for a paper. It is an act of memory. It's an insistence that these lives mattered. By properly citing these sources, we're doing 4 really important things. We fight erasure. We hold institutions accountable for their silence. We preserve the memory of those who were ignored. And maybe most importantly, we make their stories a permanent, verifiable part of the historical record, so they can't be dismissed as just rumors or forgotten tales. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. In an age where information can just vanish with a dead link, but can also be saved forever by a single upload, what's our responsibility in all of this? When the official history fails, what does it truly take to make a story, and the lives within it, permanent?